Everyone awake? Yes, good. What a lovely bunch of people. So my name is Byrne, and for those of you who wonder, yes, I'm Australian, married to a Filipina, which I think technically, legally makes me 50% Filipino. All right, so be gentle with me today. From Concepcion Industrial Corporation, we are very thankful to Richard and to Rebecca for inviting us today for the opportunity to talk to you about the future of work, and also to the sponsors, Regis, who you will learn later on are a big part of the history and the story of my company, and also Multisys, to Dave and the team for sponsoring the event. So the future of work, this is a CIC perspective that I want to talk to you about some of the learnings and some of the challenges that we've been through, and hopefully it will inspire some of you with our story. First, a little bit about CIC. We are a 5-decade-old company. We were formed in 1962, originally as Concepcion Industries, by my boss, Jojo Concepcion's grandfather, Raul Jose II Sr. And he began this company as a very humble little family business, and it has grown over the last 5 decades into a large corporate organization. We have 2 core businesses that we're very well known for. Our traditional consumer lifestyles business, our air cons, our refrigerators, small domestic products, and also a very large commercial organisation as well, which is our Alstra brand. We do the chillers and the commercial cooling for a lot of the malls and a lot of the hotels. And this is very much what we're known for. We're a large group. At last count we were 1,371, but I think I'm sure now we've cracked 1,400 employees. When I started 11 years ago, I think we were about 350 people. So in that period of about 10 years, we've grown tenfold into a very big group. And in 2013, we also became publicly listed as Concepcion Industrial Corporation. Now, I give you that information not to brag about how big we are or how well known we are, but to give you a little bit of context in terms of the innovation that I'm going to talk about today. When we say a 57-year-old company, that translates to we're set in our ways. We've been doing the same thing for 5 decades. As a traditional manufacturer, it means that we've been very hardware product focused, and 1,400 or 1,300 employees means that there are a lot of minds that need to be changed when you want to innovate. And lastly, as a publicly listed company, you're a risk-averse environment and highly governed. And so that context is really the background that we have gone through the challenges of how to transform our company from the very traditional business into the new company that we are today. So let me talk to you about the division that was formed last year. So as well as being the CEO for Cortex, I'm also the lucky guy who gets to be the division president for Technology Solutions division. And this was created last year by Jojo. And what it does is it combines internal innovation within our business with the external innovation that is happening around this room and around the country. And we have a very unique model, a 3-stream model for innovation. Most companies have either 1 or maybe 2 parts of this. We are lucky to have all 3 in one division. Firstly, we are a corporate incubator. Across our 1,400 employees, there are dozens of small little projects on innovation happening in every corner of the company. And when one of those projects becomes large enough and gets momentum, what we do is we take it out of the organisation and we put it inside TSD, and we incubate it as our corporate incubator. And the aim here is to foster and support those internal projects and give them the resources necessary to survive and thrive. Secondly, we're also the corporate venture capital arm of CIC in the technology space. CIC has, for the last 2 years, allocated a specific budget for acquisition and investment in startups to really encourage the startup community. And in return for us, we get to learn from the startup community and the culture of startups and try and take that back into our business. And lastly, we're also a startup accelerator. We invest in businesses and we bring them inside and align them with our organisation and use our domain expertise and all of the resources that we have to accelerate them to commercialisation. So it's a good, fun job. There's a lot of work to be done, but I'm going to talk to you about some of the experiments and challenges that we've been through in that journey. We use a fairly obvious process of researching and ideating. We're very linked in with what's happening around the country, what's happening in technology, We take that information back in and we ideate how we can use that to better our organisation. We do lots of experiments, lots of development, with the aim to commercialise and bring about new disruptive business models, new products and services, opening up new markets and new revenue opportunities for our business, but also to support the brand motto for CIC, which is helping build better lives and businesses here in the Philippines and eventually globally around the world. So we have today to talk to you about some of the new ways that we've been working as a 50-year-old company, and I'm going to put this out to you as a series of experiments. I say experiments because as we've gone through this journey over the last couple of years, it's been obvious that it is impossible for us to know what tomorrow will bring. Everything that we've been doing that I'm going to talk about over the next couple of steps had absolutely no guarantee of success. Very risky, very dynamic and very different to the traditional business. And so these really were risk-taking experiments to see if we could actually pull them off. So the first experiment we did was in the space of Internet of Things, an exciting area that I'm sure many of you have heard about what's happening and emerging even here in the Philippines. The mission that was given to us was to explore, create and commercialise whatever opportunities we could find in the space of Internet of Things. And the reason we picked this as the first experiment was because as an appliance company, IoT really resonates with our organisation and our appliances at that stage.
Even 3 or 4 years ago, you had smart vacuum cleaners, smart washing machines. I think now you can get smart toothbrushes and hair dryers. I don't know who wants that, but you can buy them, they're there. It was clearly an emerging trend, but it was also a chance for us to move away from being a hardware-focused company and into this new data, technology and software business. It was also a chance for us, for the first time in 50 years, to create something from scratch, a completely unique and novel thing that would benefit the everyday Filipino. But there was some criteria to this mission. We had 2 years to pull it off, and we could only do it with what ended up being 4 people. 1 person, then 2, then 4 people to pull this off. What we did was we created the smart plug. Launched in May 2018 as the Carrier Smart Cool Smart Plug. It was the first in the Philippines. It was designed by Filipinos, specifically for Filipinos, and it was a completely retrofit product. What this device does is connects to your aircon, your window type aircon, and gives you immediate access, real-time and historical, to how much energy and consumption costs your aircon consumes. It also gives you the ability to remotely turn your aircon on and off, set schedules and set alerts, and this was a real groundbreaker for us as an organisation. We had a product that now added more value to the consumer than just being a simple window type aircon. For us, this was a mission accomplished. It was 2 years in the making. It was a hell of a lot of hard work, but we started small. We moved relatively fast. For a 57-year-old company to do that in 2 years was actually pretty good. We created something new. That's what we wanted to do. We stretched the core business into an area that we weren't familiar with, and it was the start of our journey to moving towards being a technology company. So we were very, very happy with the results of that. Of course, when you succeed, people love to give you more. So they gave us another experiment. The second experiment was, okay, you've built a product, now let's see if we can build a company around the Internet of Things. Build a company to create a full suite of B2C and B2B IoT products and services. And the reason was because we immediately had very good market reaction to SmartCool. Our customers loved the product, our shareholders loved the innovation, our employees loved that we were doing something different, and we had proven that we could change the mode of our business from being a manufacturer and an appliance-based business into the technology space. But again, there's always that tricky criteria. We had to have that full organization in place, and we had to launch a whole brand new smart plug with the different branding, and we had 6 months to do it in. So from May, we had 6 months to launch a completely new product again. The first thing we needed to do is build an organization. And traditionally, everyone in this room who's ever hired knows that it can take 3 months to 6 months to find employees. I had 6 months to find employees and launch a product. So what we did was we put our thinking hats on and we created what we called the Cortex Talent Day. And we held this in July at SMX Aura. We sent invitations out across every social media channel that we could find to invite anyone with talent that wanted to work with a new innovation company to come unannounced, bring your resume, interview on the spot, and let's see if we can give you a job. It was the first open hiring day in the history of CIC. We had never ever hired in this format before. There was group tests, there were soft skill, hard skill assessments. Every applicant had the opportunity to interview with me personally as the CEO. And in that day, we interviewed, I think, over 90 people in one single day. My colleague who's with me here, Froy, who's the head of our business development, joined me. We did a very American Idol style, 10 minutes with the CEO, and that would be the basis on whether you would get through to the next stage. And from that, we hired 15 of the best people that we could find out of that 90. Within 45 days, we had them starting with us. So we went from a small 4-man band into a group of 19 people within 3 months. The next place was, where do we put all these people? We have no space for them. Fantastic challenge to have. And so in August, we had our first move-in day at Regis Spaces in BGC. We were the first CIC division to leave the Alabang industrial headquarter mothership, which terrified a lot of people. We moved to BGC, which terrified even more people. We were the first division to use co-working space. And using Regis Spaces really allowed us to move in, ramp up and go organizational within weeks instead of months. The fantastic Spaces team supported to help us through the transition. They were extremely patient, very forgiving people, and we thank them for that. Our clients and our partners loved the Cortex vibe. They loved the spaces, the whole penthouse views, the beautiful furniture and design that the team had put together. Every single person that came in loved it and didn't want to leave. We also made a lot of great friends in that site. We made a lot of good contacts for business as well. And I'm not afraid to admit that we all put on a few kilos being all around that very good food in BGC. But Spaces and the team were pivotal to the acceleration of our organization, and they will always be a part of the history of Cortex, and we thank them very much, Anna and Tricia as well personally. Thank you. The result of this was in November. As planned, 6 months later, we launched a rebranded smart plug, the Buddy Smart Plug. The first one that we launched in May was linked very much to the Carrier brand. What we wanted was a smart plug that could be used by any brand, even if it wasn't a CIC brand. We launched as the first division on e-commerce, Lazada and Shopee. We created an entire new app, and we came up with a complete new marketing strategy. And we did all of this within the hardest 90 days of my life. It was a very tough thing to do, but we did it. We had the space, we had these eager employees, and we really, really felt like a startup. It was a fantastic thing to do. So again, this second experiment was a success. We really felt that the mission had been accomplished. We built the company quickly. We launched a completely new brand. We opened a new office, fastest time in history. And we also entered the e-commerce space, an area that we had wanted to get into for a long, long time. So again, the business went, that's fantastic. Let's see if we can do something else. Here's the next experiment. So the next experiment was, okay, you've got an IoT product, and we've got an IoT company. Let's see if we can buy a startup. Everybody's buying startups. Everyone's investing. Let's get into this space and see how we can do it. So the new mission was, let's find a team of dynamic founders who are doing something in a space adjacent to our core business, and let's invest in them and let's accelerate them. And the justification for that was, number one, we needed to grow faster than we could as an organic organization. But what we also needed was that passion that comes from having equity in the business and having skin in the game to really accelerate some of the big problems that we wanted to solve. So the criteria was, go and identify, let's negotiate, and let's invest or acquire within 6 months. And we started this process in May of last year. In November, again, right on time, 6 months, we acquired a majority interest in Techco Solutions in Asia. A good-looking bunch of people they are too. Techo is an extremely interesting platform, and if you haven't heard of them, open up your phones later after I finished and go to www.techo.ph. They are a labour supply and demand platform that are going to change the way that we deal with our appliances, the way that we have them maintained and that we have them serviced. They are focused at the moment in the aftermarket appliance installation, so they do water heater, aircon installation, maintenance, repairs and parts. But the beauty of this platform is that every single technician on that platform is an entrepreneur. They are their own one-man business. And they use the Techo platform to get online and accept work in real time. It's a fantastic platform. It's founded by two ex-Silicon Valley guys, one a Canadian, one Filipino who had been working in the area and had repatriated back here and wanted to get into the startup scene. So very passionate guys. They had traction. They'd been running their business for almost a year, grinding, really trying to do as much as they could, but they needed to accelerate and they needed to go faster. This, of course, for us brought a lot of interesting challenges. The first one is, as a 57-year-old, very traditional corporate business, we had a certain mindset versus the startup founders who really run their operation by the seat of their pants. They make decisions fast, they move quickly, they want to decide, act, fail. We're a 57-year-old business where you have to sign 3 copies of a form, you have HR policies that say you have to do this, a finance controller, everything's very precise, and the two worlds clashed. It was a challenge. Of course, all the control freaks in my organization freaked out. These guys are doing this, these guys are doing that, what are we going to do? And we had to play in the middle here. And what we learned was that we had to have lots and lots of conversations and really less meetings. Constant alignment between us and the founders to make sure that we were going in the right direction. And the big lesson for us was, as a corporation, we had to get the hell out of the way and let them do what we invested in them to do. And we also had to keep our core business away from this business as well, so that the two worlds really remained separate. And that was a very big lesson for us in our first venture as a startup, acquisition of a startup. But the end result is a very good story. Techo has grown very strongly since we invested in them. Their team has built from 5 people to 15 people. They have expanded into other product segments. The Techo platform itself is developing very, very rapidly. They're opening up new areas every month. They're increasing repeat customers. And the fantastic thing for us is the body count is still 0. There were no people harmed in the acquisition of this startup business. And I'll give you a little story on the success of this for the entrepreneurs on this platform. Your average service technician who cleans air cons may only earn, on a monthly basis, 18 to 25,000 pesos a month. Maybe 30,000 if they're a little bit more senior. Last month, the highest earning Techo technician, purely just from cleaning air cons, earned 70,000 pesos off the platform. 70,000. This is what is going to lift up the poverty levels in this company by giving people access to earning very, very good money on this platform. So it was a very good story. So for us, again, experiment number 3, mission accomplished. We entered the startup space. We overcame that controlling nature that we had. We started now to link in with external innovation and to learn from them. And we also immediately expanded the value that we can provide as a brand to our customers. So we were very, very happy. Which led to the 4th big experiment. Let's create an innovation hub. Let's get really, really serious about this innovation. Let's create a vibrant workplace that Cortex and the TSD can really grow into, because we wanted to synergize between the businesses that we were investing in, the corporate space, or the corporate projects that we were incubating, and also those businesses in our accelerator program. We wanted to put them together in the same space and let the magic happen. We also needed a space large enough to cultivate all that wonderful talent and to allow the ideation to happen, because we knew that if we brought all of this back into the corporate office, it would stifle that creativity. Again, the criteria was, let's take the best bits that Regis have built in that beautiful Spaces office, and let's see if we can expand it on a bigger scale, and again, let's do this very fast. So we set off on a mission, and we found a fantastic 600 square space in Philinvest Alabang in the Asia Star building. And we took what you can see on the left, which used to be Floor, a construction company, lots of cubicles, lots of dull grey colours, and we transformed it into this beautiful, vibrant, colourful workspace that we have today. 85 seats means I can put all of my startups, all of our corporate groups together in one spot. Lots of open workspace, collaboration space, brainstorming rooms all around around the space, plenty of meeting rooms, and a large training facility. But also on site, we have our own HR, IT, and finance. Everything that a startup needs to get going and to take all of those burdens away. And we pulled this down from the first wall knockdown to moving in. We did it in 38 days. 38 days of crazy dust and renovation, but we did it, and we moved in July. So it was another fantastic experiment. The next thing we wanted to do was to really create a unique work culture. The space is only part of this dimension. So part of our organization is that we have flexible work hours. There's no set time. You can work from anywhere, 1 day a week. You can work from a Starbucks. You can work from home. We don't care. We know if you're online, and we know if you're delivering what you need to deliver. There's no desk plan or allocations. People really just work wherever they want to work. And this encouraged those spontaneous interactions between the teams. Remote working, telecommuting is fantastic, but there's nothing that beats that spontaneous discussion over at the pantry when you're making a cup of coffee and finding out what somebody's doing and getting inspired by all of those stories that you're hearing. It's organically, without us trying, supporting cross-learning and knowledge sharing between the groups just by hearing what's going on. And we're trying as much as we possibly can to embrace wall-to-wall innovation in this space. So mission accomplished. We built a permanent innovation hub away from corporate. We created what is a new benchmark for CIC workspaces in the future. We're bringing that internal and external innovation literally physically together and supporting the expansion for our 2020 and beyond vision. So there's a lot more that I could talk about. There are many, many experiments happening, and if I had more time, I would, and if you want to talk to me later on, I'd love to share with you what we're doing. But let me give you a little bit of a sneak preview at some of the things that are coming down the experimental pipeline. The first thing that we're playing with is what we call fluidic teams. These are small, cross-functional and cross-generational groups that we bring together for a very short period of time, 3 to 6 months. They're usually seconded from the traditional organization. We bring them out and we bring them over to the Innovation Hub. We take away all their titles, all their job titles, and we put them into a design thinking, rapid prototyping MVP environment where we support as facilitators and mentors to help them really accelerate and build something that was an idea into a potential new business for our organization. This is something that we're very, very excited about, and so are our employees. The second one is really taking from our learnings with Techo, that founders versus employees could potentially unlock helping us solve some of the biggest problems that we have. And the reason for this is because of that equity-driven passion. Nothing makes you get up in the morning by knowing that you own that business and that you have equity in the outcome of that business. So you get that malasakit and that buy-in that we can't get from traditional employees, and it also synergizes with the core of our organization. The flip side to that is for people who maybe don't want to be a founder, but they still want to work for themselves, is this entrepreneurial model. This allows us to rapidly scale by getting people who are their own boss to buy into whatever they're trying to do, and this BYOB of being your own boss. It's a road from corporate to self-employment for people who may have had enough working in a traditional corporate environment. It's a completely new lifestyle. You work when you want to work, how you want to work, but it gives you access to very good opportunities for making money and lifting the lifestyle of your family and your wealth. And it's also a fantastic beeline from education straight into employment. We have students now who finish on day one, they finish at Don Bosco, they've done their 2-year certificate, and within 1 week they're on the Techo platform earning 25,000, 30,000 pesos. Not bad for a young person, straight into employment. And the fourth one, we love this is coming out in the next couple of months, is turning technicians into data scientists. We have people in our organization who have been service technicians for 20, 30, 40 years, who have incredible amounts of wisdom locked in their brain. What we are doing is we're going to reskill them for the future. We're going to show them that retirement is not the end game. There is more value that they can contribute. And we see them as the new, the new unicorn employee, the combination of a domain expert with decades of experience, now equipped with tech skills, now as a data scientist who can now add new value to the organization. This is going to be a very exciting opportunity for us in the future. So 4 of the experiments that we're doing, as I said, we've got lots more happening, but this is a very encouraging turn, again, for a 57-year-old company. We have a long journey ahead. It's a good thing that I'm young and I'm fit and I have a fantastic support team helping me on this. And I have to give kudos to my boss. Jojo is a very forward-thinking owner of the business. Jojo's the 3rd generation running this business. And traditionally, the first generation builds it, the second generation expands it, and the third generation destroys it. Luckily, that's not the case this time. We have a very forward-thinking boss who really supports this. And we also plan to have a lot of fun on the way. Thank you very much.